Welcome to an episode of the Disruptive Voices of the Pacific. Today I'm interviewing Renee Stoker. She has grown up in Fiji and was abused from the age of 5 by her uncle. She had 2 children to him. When she spoke up, she was disowned by her family. However, she has published and written her own book called Frozen Tears. She now resides in Australia, and where she reached out to me through our website, I think is where I first saw your story, Renee. But we're going to have a bit of a discussion about all that you've been through. So thank you for being with us, Renee.
You're welcome.
So where do you live now? Because the sun is shining.
I'm in Adelaide.
In Adelaide. Okay. At what age did you move to Australia?
In 1986, I was still 20.
Okay, so you're an Aussie now, aren't you? But had spent the first 20 years of your life in Fiji. And just like so many other children, experienced childhood sexual abuse by your uncle. Can you explain to us how that first started?
This all started before I was even in primary school. So before I started school, and it all it is for a child. It is very difficult you don't understand what's happening, and it's all playful, and until it's almost like it's grooming. So until this becomes normal.
Yeah.
And so that is my earliest age was before I even started primary school. So I would have been about 5.
5. Do you remember distinctly how he was grooming you?
I remember everything.
Wow. So how was he grooming you?
First it was just playing with me, and then it started from there onto saying the things like, "Oh, you are such a strong child, little girl," and he put his leg on me and go roll on me and stuff like that. And then it started from there onto touching, and it just became on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. And at that time, you thought it was innocent. You didn't think anything of it, obviously.
At that age, you don't actually know. You don't know anything. You're a child, and you don't differentiate between an adult and a child.
Yeah.
It's just all playful.
Yeah. Were you close to this uncle?
He was married into the family, so my auntie and my dad were brother and sister. So in a culture, in Indian culture, it is quite normal for children to stay with their aunties, uncles, grandparents and all that.
Mm-hmm. So began with the grooming before you were in primary school, and then where did it progress? Because obviously you end up having children, so it progressed somewhere.
Yes. So when when I was younger, they lived at a different place, but it was not far from my parents' house. And then they built a house which is pretty much next door to them. And from there, it continued all the way, because I was literally living with them every day. I was staying there. Um, it continued from then, and by the time I was 12, I would say about 11 and 12, I was pretty much sharing the bed with them.
With him and his wife.
Yes, which is my auntie.
Yeah.
And she actually knew everything that was going on.
And she allowed it.
Yeah, because he used to be there. So he was very, very violent towards her.
Okay. Did they have children of their own?
Yes. So when it all started, when I was 5, they only had one child, one girl. And then at later stage, she had a boy, and the boy, he didn't like, he did not want, he did not like, and so they gave him away, sorry, to my parents looked after him.
Okay.
And then they had another daughter that they also adopted out, but within a family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then at later stage they had another daughter.
Okay. So sharing the bed, did you think anything was wrong at that stage, or you're still only 12, so
Yeah, I mean, she was my auntie, but I did like, he was at times like if I knew, started to know that things were not quite right or quite normal. Although I was groomed from a very young age, it's almost like you're living a double life. One is where I'm this person who is, you know, sexually involved with my own uncle in their bed, and then I am like my dad. He actually loved me. My parents loved me very much, but I could not. And the reason that I wrote this book is, the importance of it is that when we don't feel, like although we know that our parents love us, but if I went there and told them, it would not be like then. How do I explain? It's like it's not that they would not believe you or you call you a liar,
yeah.
but they would not accept it that these things are happening.
Okay, so they had no idea.
No, but until I got pregnant, they knew.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of arguments going on between the families, but still, the whole village knew that what went on, what was going on. People were suspicious, but nothing was done.
No, so at the age of 15, so you're in form
Form 4.
4? Yeah.
Yeah.
Still at school. How did you feel when you became pregnant with your?
Well, it was, I wouldn't, like, it was hard to explain, because to me, education was very important. But there I am doing my Fiji junior examination with a baby kicking in my belly. They did try to get me to abort. My uncle arranged somebody in Suva, but it didn't. The doctor who was supposed to perform abortion, he said that I was too far pregnant and it will risk me dying. But at that stage and that mental stage, that I did not even care that if I died, because to me, what was happening, death was not, it was least of my problem.
Yeah. So did they offer love or care or consolation to you?
No, absolutely not. Like it all was involved with violence. They they kicked me out. I went and stayed with my sister for temporary, and then my another auntie and uncle. They were nice. But then they decided. See, I actually lied about who the father of the child was. That's
Okay.
because I was scared,
Yeah.
because I know that like that you couldn't talk about it. Everything that you say would be violence. So I lied, and that kind of backfired as well, because dad put me back in the school, which was good because school education was really important to me. But then I got pregnant again because I got myself back in the trouble, because they were sending me back there because my uncle said, "Oh no, it's okay. We'll look after her." But I couldn't say anything, so I was back there where the problem began.
And pregnant. So the uncle realized, was he aware the first baby was his?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
you
yeah.
were
I
just,
mean, if I, to be honest, if I had a boyfriend, I'll be happier. Like I would be happier in a sense that it would be easier to talk about.
yeah. Okay, so how did your parents respond when you were pregnant the second time?
They kicked me out.
Out again.
Kicked me out, because, and that's when they took me to St. Christopher's orphanage, where I kind of felt peaceful. It was like I was away from everything. although the problem, then the reality was still there with me, that I have the first baby was adopted out. I never seen the baby. But the second time, and in during all this time, nobody ever reached out to me, even to ask, anything. So, I had a little girl, and she was adopted out as well. And as a maternal instinct, regardless of the situation, you still want to, like, you don't want to be separated from the baby. But the reality was nobody wanted me, so I had to get, the baby was adopted out.
How old were you when you had the second baby?
17.
17. So still not graduated yet.
No, I was in Form 6.
Did you end up graduating?
No, the second time, because she was born in July. At this stage, the whole family has gone against me, and they didn't want to know me at all. But although everybody knew who the father was, and I had already told them who the father was about the second time, but still at this stage, knowing the truth, nobody wanted to know me.
And did anyone confront the uncle or report him?
I mean, they might had like screaming at each other and stuff like that, but nothing was done. I mean, there's a lot that could have been done, but nothing was done.
Yeah. Must have been a very lonely and dark place for you to be in.
It was, because you think that somebody takes away my freedom, my innocence, yet I was punished by the family as well, let alone him, but the whole family, entire family. When my brother had his wedding, I was not allowed to go attend because, that was embarrassed. It was embarrassing for them, for me to be around.
Why is it that our families turn on the victims?
And this is why I actually wrote the book. But when the families actually found out that I wrote the book, I had so many horrible messages. Now they totally, like, before they kind of were talking to me a little bit. See, my kids don't even know. No, they don't know the families, which is in itself is, not a bad thing. But when they found out that I actually wrote the book because I wanted the truth out, exactly what happened to me, now nobody wants to know me. They say, why you want to bring shame to the family? This is what they're saying. I mean, this is where a victim becomes oppressed. And this is the only reason why women do not talk about it. This is exactly why they don't want to talk about it. I had a message from my cousin. I will not name names. She knows who she is. And she said, you had so much fun with your uncle. You should be ashamed of yourself. I kept it because I am writing a second one. I am writing the second book. I'm halfway through it. I mean, it's just so much to write. This is a lifetime, and if I can just help one person, which I am, like, I'm very vocal in a sense, like I try and help women who are going through domestic violence and abuse. It happens so much.
Yeah, it does. Isn't it interesting that it's the wrong question, isn't it, to say to the victim, why do you want to bring shame on the family, rather than saying to the uncle, he's the one who's brought the shame.
Yeah,
The
I
adult.
think lack of intelligence, and I would definitely put lack of intelligence, because they know, I have children, if you have children and you love your children, you would do anything for them, regardless of who says what. I would not care who says what. If somebody does something to my children, I'll stand up for my kids. But nobody ever did. Instead, I'm nearly 60 and they turn around and nobody wants to talk to me. And then there's all these, and just one day before I left to come to Australia, my brother-in-law raped me. My sister knows about it because he's done these things before. And then she goes and tells the whole family that I'm lying. I have no reason to lie.
Mm.
No.
Yeah, no, and it's a very
And
sad.
I'm telling you why the reason these things happen. Once the family find out, when the perpetrators find out that you have a child and in this culture, they will come and do things to you for the reason they know you're not going to talk. And even if you talk, nobody wants to believe you.
Mm.
So you are victimized
Yeah.
over and over again. And yet nobody wants to talk about it.
And then it just continues, and the nation
And it
falls
is
apart.
the women are the worst. But
Yeah.
you think about it, my auntie, all right, she knew everything from the beginning. She did nothing because if as long as I was there, he would not beat her up.
Mm.
So everybody's covering their own back, and you know, my sister knows about it. She's protecting him. So men are getting away with it because women are protecting men who are doing these things. And I am not isolated. There are women all over Fiji who have had things happen to them.
Yeah.
Nobody protects them. Nobody protects them, including women who are supposed to be one of a kind. They understand women, but they're the worst.
Yes. So I was saying to you before we started that you're my first Indo-Fijian, I think, that I've had after this is, I think, episode 120 of my podcast, because I've found it so hard to find Indo-Fijians to speak up. But I know that the problem is just as bad, if not
Yeah.
worse. Is it worse in your culture, do you think? Or
Oh, I tell you, I know so many women who have gone through exactly or worse than me. First, they get beaten up. Second, they're called liars. Third, they're called whores. Because it's always a woman's fault, regardless of you're a child. Nobody wants to accept that. Like my sister, who's supposed to protect me, supposed to be by my side and understand me, what I'm saying, and knowing actually knew what he done, knowingly denying it, and then not just denying it, telling everybody that I am a liar, collecting people along the family, just I am liar. So nobody talks to me. Am I gonna lose that? No, I'm not losing anything because I'm a peaceful person, because I have learned with my faith that the most important thing in life is forgiveness. If I cannot forgive, then it was pointless me writing a book, because I think the one of the things that a victim has to stop is that I am a victim. I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. As long as you're going to be a victim, you will be anchored to that place where it happened. So for you to move on from that place, you must not be a victim. You're a survivor because you survived. You came to tell a story.
Yeah.
The question is, why did they do it? Nobody knows. Because to understand that, they had things happen to them.
Yeah.
Or it's the opportunity, or it's like when somebody is hungry, they go and steal. They may actually kill people to steal. Does it make it right? No, it doesn't. It will never make sense. Why do men go and rape children? There's the answers that nobody will ever know. Because the reason for the younger ones is because it's easy. And especially in the Indians, nobody wants to believe you. Nobody wants to talk to you about it. And even if it does happen, they will deny it.
Yes, and as
So
long as we continue to cover it up, protect the perpetrator, it can.
that's right. And I'm blaming a lot of this on women, because if women spoke against it, things will stop.
Mm.
because men know they can get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So why did you call your book Frozen Tears?
Because it was a time frame. Because while I was learning about who I was and overcoming, because you have so much anger within you. Because the anger and hatred, as I said, is because you stuck in that time. Why me? That was what I was asking. Why me?
Mm.
Wrong question. There is no such thing as why me. Is why did they do it?
Yeah.
So I survived, and that was frozen tears is because I had nobody to cry to. I was on my own. My tears did not exist. So everything was my own life. One person had to deal with everything, and nothing could be discussed.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Well, I know there's a copy in the mail for me, and I'm looking forward to reading that. Everyone else, it's available on Amazon.com, Frozen Tears by Reena Stocker. I think it's just so important that we see more women writing their stories, getting it out there. It's so vital. Now, you moved to Australia when you were 20, so obviously after your second child, why did you move?
Look, my cousin asked me, she said, were you not scared? I said, my entire fear was my childhood. My fear was a place where I was supposed to be loved. They were my fear. And coming to Australia on my own with nothing, that was not fearful. That was like escaping a prison, a lifetime prison. And Australia gave me hope. It gave me freedom. It gave me hope. It gave me, I learned so much, understanding, opportunity to learn, to grow.
Yeah, wow. So you purposely moved to get away from everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, because I knew that because I had attempted suicide and which I nearly succeeded in Fiji. But even that, nobody cares. So I had come to a conclusion that if my life does not matter to anybody, I am going to prove that I can survive on my own. I was strong enough to do this on my own. And that's what I did. I took a plane, I came to Australia on my own and made a life.
And what have you built for yourself over the last 40 years?
I think my spirituality is most important to me because without God in my life, I don't think I'd be where I am now.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to learn about oneself, but you can't do that on a daily basis. You have so many questions in life, but those questions can only be available to you. You can know God, you can know about God, but to personally know God, you have to invite Him into
Yeah.
your life. That's the only way.
And you got married?
I did get married to David, and yeah, he also had, which states in the book, because he also went through pretty rough childhood as well. So there were two of us. He was also outcast from his family. He was the only child.
Mm.
So there were ways, the whole story about our life is unique because I met this man who had exactly similar thing happen to him where he was cast out because he told his father what happened to him. And that was by his mother. And so we had our massive fights, we had our growth, and I'm so thankful that I met him because only through him that I came to know Christ.
Mm.
And through that, I had my ups and downs, and I had my like denial, I had argument with God. But in reality, I truly found that life is more than what we eat, what we drink, and who we talk to. Life is about learning through our mistakes, learning through things that has happened to us and advance from that.
Mm.
And advancing in a sense that learning things like this happened to me. It's not fair, but how can I make sure that doesn't happen to my children? And I bloody made sure that that don't happen to my kids because I had so much, things that I knew. But also try and help people, be a voice for girls, women who do not feel that they have a voice,
Mm.
who may listen to it and then think, well, nobody's going to believe me, so why should I say anything? Because I will be outcast. And most women who go through these kind of things eventually do get married or whatever. They get beaten up by their husbands, and it's like, well, they have to relive it every single day.
Mm. Mm. So your children that were adopted out, have you ever met up with them again?
I have not, but I have found the son, and I talked to him. He knows everything about his father. I was being honest because he wanted to know, and I told him.
Mm.
And he said that he's glad that he's found me and he understood why I gave him away. But he is the most intelligent person as well, which helps me because instead of judging the situation, he is embracing it. And he said the man was of not his father, but just a man to him.
Yeah.
And he said he's glad that I haven't actually personally met him,
Yeah.
but we talk on a daily basis.
Wow. Have you wondered about the other child?
I did send her a message, but I'm not gonna force if she hasn't responded to. So everybody's different. So
Yeah. And then you've gone on to have more children?
I do have a lot of children because I made my own family. So I have 7, and the most beautiful, caring kids. Yes.
Grandchildren?
I have 9 now.
9 grandchildren.
9
Oh, you
grandchildren.
don't even look that old, Reena. Wow. That's beautiful. God's restored.
Yes, and I find happiness in little things. Like here, I feed the animals, and I got 2 alpacas and chickens and all. I can't kill, but yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
I think
You,
restoring oneself starts with oneself because you cannot expect somebody else to come and fix you up. You have to fix yourself.
yeah. What have been the main, in your journey of healing, what has helped you the most?
I think my kids, I would say my kids in a sense that when you have children and you see their innocence, you never ever want something bad to happen to them. You want them to grow up happiness that you never had. And I did that. I gave all of me to them. And it was never too much. People think I'm crazy. I had 7 kids. How did you do it? Well, because I love them. None of them were accidents. I actually love my kids. Okay.
Cat.
And
That's
she was
beautiful.
rescued as well.
Yeah.
She's
Okay.
a, she's a rescued cat. Look at it.
Wow. What's her name?
My grandson's cat, he calls her Burger.
There you go. Good. You accept everybody, even the cats.
Yeah, she's rescued. What can I do? And she's so loving. Unusually, we found her at Christmas. Somebody had thrown her near our mailbox, and the
Wow.
neighbor found, and he thought she was ours, and we said we'll take it anyway.
Mm.
And she's so loving.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So what will it take to turn the tide of abuse in Fiji, especially?
I think awareness, which is happening, but women have to actually wake up and think that they have the power in their hands to turn this around by not covering up for men.
Yeah.
Like things that happened to me, there was another different uncle who was sexually, harassing me and all that. But when you discuss things like that, you are called a liar. Why would I even be lying about it?
Yeah. No, children don't lie. Have you had
So,
anything to do with your uncle since leaving?
they died.
They died. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I felt nothing.
Yeah.
I have nothing. Like, people would say, oh, thank God he's dead. No, I feel nothing because it happened what happened, and I cannot change. I cannot change what happened to me. But I choose to be a happy person. I choose to live my life to the best I can.
Yeah. So what would be your final words to any woman who's out there who's never spoken up about her abuse? How would you encourage her?
Don't don't put an anchor on and stay in that, because as long as you are going to, it doesn't matter how much you deny it or don't want to talk about it, the pain will never leave. You can never erase the pain, but you can overcome it. And the only one to overcome the pain is by talking about it and stopping it from somebody else.
Yeah. How has writing your story, has that helped bring healing in your life?
A lot, because the Facebook that I wrote, I burnt it because that was all handwritten, and I burnt it because I felt inside, this is when I was still in the process of healing, and that I felt that nobody wanted to know, plus nobody cared. But then when I stopped telling myself that nobody cared, I had to change my thought pattern into, but it is important to me that this happened to me. It doesn't matter anybody wants to know it. It doesn't matter if anybody cares, but it is important to me because I survived this. I need to know how strong I was. I need to know other women how strong you can be. But to be strong, you have to stand alone sometimes. That's how you become strong.
Yeah. And what was the response when the book was released? People were reading it.
I think that a lot of people, I'm talking about normal people. The normal people, I have so many guys who have come and given me a hug and said, how can you be a happy person? Because they personally know me at work. And they say, how can you be such a happy person with such a positive outlook in life, yet you have gone through that? And I said, that's why I am, because I choose to be. I don't choose to be, I don't want to be stuck in there, in that little dungeon of darkness. I don't want to be there. That I did not choose. This I do choose. My happiness, I choose this.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Renee, you're an inspiration, and thank you for sharing your story. I'm sure there's so much more that we could dive into, but time is out. Please grab a hold of her book, Frozen Tears, and also we want to encourage other men and women to write their stories. We need more books, more stories, more disruption of the silence. So, Renee, thank you. Keep going, keep speaking. You're an inspiration.
Thank you.
Mm.